But one of the reasons that we saw this better tone to the economy is the tax cut plan last year. But will that change? Because we are talking about new proposals to tax the wealthy once again. House Democrat Peter DeFazio pioneering a financial services tax to discourage high-frequency trading, he says. He's got a new co-sponsor, and yes, it is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This bill is titled the Wall Street Tax Act of 2019. They say it could bring in $777 billion in revenue over the next 10 years, according to a joint committee on taxation. And joining us right now is Kentucky Congressman and House Financial Services Committee member Andy Barr. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
Tell us about this Wall Street tax.
Well, you know, a lot of people attribute the volatility in the markets in December to uncertainty around trade, maybe a monetary normalization, other factors. But really, if you think about it, this new socialist mindset with the new House majority may be one of the reasons why you saw so much market volatility in December. Now, fortunately, we're seeing good growth numbers, strong growth. Capital expenditures, business investment continues to move forward, predominantly because of tax cuts, because of corporate tax reductions, because of the expensing provisions. And don't underestimate the impact of financial sector deregulation, the legislation that is encouraging more capital formation, encouraging more businesses to access affordable capital and invest in their businesses. What you're seeing here with this proposal to impose a new tax on financial transactions is exactly in step with the Democrats' new lurch towards socialism. You can't have capitalism without capital, and this is a direct punishment of capital formation.
That's incredible. What are you doing about all of these new programs on the left? Your colleagues want to change a lot of what your colleagues on the right have put in place.
Well, part of this also, part of what's animating these tax increase proposals, the reversals of the progress that we've made over the last couple of years, is that they're proposing huge new spending. I know Dagan is concerned, you're concerned, we're all concerned about the national debt. And you're talking about the Green New Deal, which would add $93 trillion in new spending, new costs to the federal government, a government takeover of our healthcare system, $30 trillion over 10 years. And so they're trying to figure out a way to pay for it. And the way they think they can pay for it is to punish success with a new tax on transactions.
Republicans don't have a leg to stand on this, though, because President Bush never met a spending bill that he didn't like. The debt has continued to soar. Yes. It's now north of $22 trillion, as we've talked about on the show, as Maria just pointed out. So you don't have any legs to stand on. So now you've really, quite frankly, opened the door to these people on the left and say, well, if the Republicans are going to spend on this, then we're going to spend on that, and everybody's going to benefit from our socialist ideas.
Well, it's a fair criticism, and certainly both parties share blame on this. But remember, when the last time Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, domestic discretionary spending was around 9% as a percent of GDP. Domestic discretionary spending when Nancy Pelosi took the gavel back was down to 6%. So Republicans, when we were in charge, actually did a pretty good job on discretionary spending. The reason why the deficit continues to be at $1 trillion a year right now is because of unreformed mandatory spending. And don't forget what Republicans did in the last Congress. We voted for the most significant historic entitlement reform in American history that failed by one vote in the Senate.
Whose idea was it to do this dollar for dollar? You do a dollar increase in defense spending, you get a dollar increase in discretionary spending. That's one of the issues.
Yeah, that is one of the issues, and we do need to disconnect those two, and we're fighting to preserve the disconnect between defense spending, which frankly we're spending less as a percentage of the economy on defense now than we did 10 years ago. And the threats are continuing to grow.
Well, in a couple of years, you're going to be spending, we as a nation are going to be spending more on the interest on the debt than we spend on our national defense, which is appalling.
And then we'll probably see that Wall Street tax materialize.
Right. Well, that's why the debt is a national security issue.
But this Wall Street tax, again, we started the show talking about AOC's mom moving from New York City, from New York to Florida because of high taxes.
It's $600 versus $10,000
but there's a similar dynamic with these financial transaction taxes. First of all, we have very little evidence it does anything about high-frequency trading. Secondly, we know know in places where it's been implemented, it's moved capital transactions out of that country, right? The same thing.
And it hurts the consumer, too, at the end of the day as well. You're aiming for the high-frequency traders, but the consumer, we don't have that many lower-income people invested in the stock market, but this also makes it much more difficult for them to get involved in the stock market and see their capital gains
But I also like what you said, Brian. It doesn't do anything for high-frequency trading.
We just don't have any evidence to suggest it solves that problem. So what are we doing?
I agree. And remember, in the United States, we enjoy the deepest, most liquid, competitive capital markets on the planet. That helps everyday consumers. This punishes liquidity. This impairs liquidity. This makes U.S. capital markets less competitive, and that hurts growth. That hurts jobs.
What about Ilhan Omar? We got to talk about this for a second, because the House is voting tomorrow on a resolution which condemns anti-Semitism. Congresswoman Omar suggested that pro-Israel groups are pushing, quote, allegiance to a foreign country. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is defending her this morning in a response on Twitter, in a tweet from California Congressman Juan Vargas, who slammed Omar over her comments. Ocasio-Cortez writes, I'm curious if Representative Vargas will further explain his stance here that it's unacceptable to even question U.S. foreign policy. Plenty of Dem members have asserted that discussion and debate on this issue is fair and merited. Is this stance a departure from that? 11 Jewish groups are now calling on Nancy Pelosi to remove Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, tell us what this resolution means. I mean, just because they're coming up with a resolution condemning it, it doesn't change anything. She's still on foreign affairs.
Correct. This is an attempt for Democrats to cover up what's really going on, which is a rise of anti-Semitism, not just in the world generally, but in the Democratic Party here in the United States.
In the Congress.
And in the Congress. And absolutely, Representative Omar should be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee. And I'll tell you, I just returned from Israel. I was in Israel week before last, and the Israelis, our number one strategic ally in the Middle East. Imagine the Middle East, that dark part of the world, without an ally, a strategic ally like Israel. They're questioning what's going on in the United States, what's going on with anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party. And we need to stand firm. There is bipartisan support for removing Representative Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee, and it shouldn't be a partisan issue. Anti-Semitism has no place in our country, no place in the world, and certainly no place in the Congress.
And your colleagues, when Steve King said something stupid, he was relieved of all of his committee assignments.
That's right. That's right. And so we need to hold all of our members to a high standard, particularly in the Foreign Affairs Committee, where we are dealing with important issues. We need to stand with Israel. Israel is an important counterweight to Iran and other terrorist proxies in the Middle East.
Meantime, Nancy Pelosi's on the cover of Rolling Stone with Congressman Omar, along with Ocasio-Cortez and another fellow female congresswoman.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is shameful.
Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.